There's now a path forward to recover from the baby formula shortage. That's according to the Food and Drug Administration's latest comments on the issue. They're saying parents should start seeing a return to normal in a few weeks. NTD's Melina Wisecup has the latest.
Parents should find it easier to get their hands on baby formula over the next few weeks. That's the anticipated timeline from the FDA.
This will gradually improve over a period of a few weeks, but we're working closely with Abbott to get that plant that was shut down up and operating as soon as possible.
Abbott, the nation's largest baby formula supplier, is cleared to reopen its shuttered plant in Michigan in 2 weeks. The plant was shut down over unsanitary conditions, although the producer says it could take up to 10 weeks to recover the loss in production. The FDA said today the supply of formula is there, but work needs to be done to get it to the shelves. Now the administration plans to ramp up its imports from other countries.
What we are looking to do is make available that supply from abroad.
As a short-term fix, the White House has loosened up restrictions on WIC, a government program that allows low-income mothers to buy formula. For now, WIC users can buy any brand of infant formula.
Melina, and now after feeling the heat over the supply issue, Democrats who are in control on Capitol Hill are now pushing a bill to address this shortage. What can you tell us about this?
Steve, that bill that Congress is working on right now would grant WIC something called an emergency authority. It would allow the federal government to lift certain restrictions and regulations during a time of a shortage, such as we're seeing right now. So in the future, they could tackle these types of problems more quickly. Now, in addition to this, to address the issue in the short term, Congress also wants to pass more money to address the shortage. But as of right now, it's unclear exactly how much money they want to spend on this and exactly where that money would go. But considering Congress is aiming to pass this by the end of the week, we expect more details about the amount of money and where that money will go over the next couple of days. Steve, back to you.
NTD's Melina Wisecup reporting. At least 10 people died in the mass shooting that took place in Buffalo, New York on Saturday. Responses from Republicans and Democrats show a divided approach. Representative Lee Zeldin from New York called for a return of the death penalty. And Democratic Governor Kathleen Hochul is more interested in scrutinizing social media platforms and targeting white supremacy. Meanwhile, the Congressional Black Caucus Chair Joyce Beatty is asking for more. Beatty is urging the Senate to abolish the filibuster and pass gun control legislation to enhance background checks. The mass shooting that took place in Buffalo, New York appears to be in part racially motivated. However, the shooter also has a possible history of mental illness. Oftentimes, the former becomes the driving force in the headlines for mainstream media outlets, which in the end winds up fueling more hate and division in the country. Our next guest is Angela Plowhead, a clinical psychologist who is also running for Congress in the state of Oregon. We're happy to have her on. Angela, it seems like whenever there's a tragedy of this sort that we saw take place in Buffalo, the media goes right into the hyper-politicization of gun control rather than addressing the true root causes, which in this case seems to be mental illness. The warning signs were there as early as a year ago when he was evaluated. Is there a way to prevent these types of cases from slipping through the cracks, do you think?
So I think there's failure here on a number of areas. Number one, I think with the follow-up. So when in mental health, there are a number of avenues that you can receive treatment. There's inpatient and then there's outpatient. It seems like from what I'm seeing from the reports is that he received inpatient treatment for a day and a half and then was released. It does not appear as though there was any follow-up outpatient treatment. That would have been one avenue for helping him to do better in this area. But then again, we also have some people that really are just antisocial and really where they need to be is jail. And we don't know at this point what's going on with this person. And obviously he hadn't committed any crime prior to this, and so he wouldn't have been there at that point. But we could have had some follow-up with our FBI. You know, we have people that go on terrorist watch list, and when they have made credible claims of, mass shootings like this, there shouldn't be any reason why they shouldn't be on that list. Instead of having our FBI trying to, dig into our president and trying to do things that were obviously very political against parents, We should have had our FBI following up on things like this. Those are two big failures that I can see. We also have a system in the United States where we're just failing at mental health. We don't have enough providers. The insurances that we have, when I'm talking about things like Medicare, do not allow for services from a multitude of providers. They only allow for psychologists, psychiatrists, and licensed social workers. So there's a lot of other providers that could be providing services and shore up those areas, but we don't allow it. So we need to really adjust that piece as well. So, there are a lot of failures in a lot of different places that could have been put into place in this situation.
When, horrendous events like this that do have a racial component to them take place, and things seem to just take an extreme political view right off the bat, do you think that could have a reverse effect on race relations?
We've seen that. I've seen it personally. I think we as a nation have seen it. So instead of addressing race and trying to do things as a community, what we've seen is the separation. The BLM message has been one based on Marxism, which is not good. It's not American. It's not based on freedom, and it's not based on inclusion. It's based on separation. And so, that I think has been an extremely harmful message. And since that message has come out, we have seen more race division in our nation than we have inclusion. And I think we really need to be calling on our faith leaders to be stepping up. That's where Martin Luther King Jr. came from. He came from a position of faith. He came from a position of, community and wanting to unite our community and not tear it apart. We know that separate but equal, and in this case, separate but not equal, is not going to work. It just isn't. We need to have inclusion, and we need to have unity, and we need to have people that are going to bring those messages of unity and stop trying to divide our nation. We've seen such hyperbole out of the media about race and about how, there's so much division, but yet that division is being promoted and pushed by the same media corporations. And so, we as the American people need to come together. We need to do what we did after 9/11 and really unite, not unite against any people, but unite together in a message of solidarity, that we're not going to let evil separate us.
Angela Plowhead, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And, I would just like to say before we go that my heart goes out to all the people in Buffalo. It's a beautiful community. I've been there before. And, I would just have a clarion call that, we as a community, as the United States of America, pull together around this community and together just in unity.
Angela, thank you. The White House today fired back at Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. Over the weekend, Bezos started criticizing President Biden's economic policies and accused him of misleading the public on inflation. Bezos tweeted, "Inflation is a regressive tax that hurts the affluent the least. Misdirection doesn't help the country," he said. A White House spokesperson, Andrew Bates, responded with a statement criticizing Bezos for being against the middle class. Bezos tweeted earlier saying that the Biden White House wants to muddy the topic, saying, quote, "Raising corporate taxes is fine to discuss. Taming inflation is critical to discuss. Mushing them together is just misdirection." Hey there, I'm Steve Lance, host of NTD's Capital Report. Just want to thank you for tuning in. To catch our full broadcast and other amazing content, watch us over at epochtv.com.